Good evening, you're watching Hungary Reports, public media's English language news broadcast. I'm Marsha Flum, thanks for joining us. 1 week has passed since the boat collision in Budapest, but we still don't know when the operation to lift the mermaid from the Danube's riverbed can start. The weather has become unfavorable again. The temperature climbed to over 30 degrees Celsius in the Alps, and the snow started to melt even in the highest mountains as well, which is why the water level stopped decreasing in Budapest. Meanwhile, a crane ship called Clark Adam arrived on the Danube in Budapest, which is planned to lift the shipwreck to the surface. However, the current water level does not allow the large floating crane to pass under the Margaret Bridge, so it is not yet able to approach the scene of last Wednesday's tragedy. Divers have been working around the wreckage for days to find possible anchorage points for lifting the boat. Another body was discovered during the exploratory dives in the morning on Wednesday. The corpse has been identified as one of the passengers of last week's Danube ship collision. With this, the number of victims has officially increased to 15. 13 people are still missing.
Experts are constantly monitoring the shipwreck's position and the Danube's movement from the pontoon bridge on the water. Several experts check the special equipment of the divers before they descend. An entire team is working to ensure that the professional divers can submerge to the wreck as safely as possible. That's how the work went on Wednesday morning as well. Another body was pulled to the surface by divers from the boat that sunk at Margaret Bridge last week. The professionals of the Counterterrorism Center have now found 3 victims in the depths. According to the experts involved in the rescue operations, there hasn't been collaboration and coordinated teamwork in a rescue operation as professional as this for decades. We have not experienced such logistics during the last 30 years of flood protection and rescue operations. We get whatever we want, any tools we need for the rescue operation, by the time we even think about it, the head of the rescue team said. The divers finished designating the possible anchorage points by early Wednesday afternoon. Then the preparations for the next task could begin. We need to tie down the wreck before further operations are carried out to prevent it from rolling over or slipping during the rescue operation due to the river currents. Therefore, the boat will be anchored to a large ship with 2 wired ropes. After that, we can start placing the ropes under the boat to lift it, this expert explained. The operation to salvage the shipwreck can only start in a few days. However, experts emphasize that the plans can be overwritten by the circumstances at any time.
Prime Minister Viktor Orbán met Myanmar's state chancellor in Budapest on Wednesday and discussed illegal immigration and bilateral ties in the areas of economy, education and culture. The Prime Minister received the leader of the Southeast Asian country at the Carmelite monastery. The leaders agreed at the meeting that currently illegal migration is one of the primary challenges, both for Myanmar and Hungary, as well as for Southeast Asian Europe in general. Central European countries are obviously the winners of the new world order created by economic and political changes, the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Trade Peter Szijjártó said at the 3C summit for 12 Central and Eastern European countries in Ljubljana. The Foreign Minister emphasized that the political decisions taken in Central Europe in relation to the economy and security have all contributed to the region being one of the winners of the new world order today.
The economic growth rate of Central European countries was twice the EU average in the previous year. 4 of the 5 most rapidly growing European economies in the first quarter of this year were Central European. This is clearly owing to the fact that we hold our security as an utmost priority. We make decisions that unequivocally protect our safety, and Europe's lowest taxes are also in this region.
According to government estimates, the Economy Protection Action Plan and tax changes will result in a support of about 500 billion forints, more than 1.5 billion euros for businesses next year. Several taxes will be reduced, the tax code will be simplified, and there will be more favorable conditions for developments. The government's goal is to keep Hungarian GDP growth well above the EU average.
The government wants as many companies as possible to invest and develop, since that's how the country can keep its 4% economic growth up. They created the Economic Protection Action Plan, one of the main pillars of next year's budget proposal, to do just that. Among other things, the program would decrease social contribution tax and small business tax. It would remove obligatory tax uploads, which means that companies wouldn't have to make advance tax payments from next year. and accommodation tax would also be cut to 5%. The program would also simplify the tax system and plans to leave about 1.5 billion euros with businesses. The biggest challenge for companies will probably be finding well-trained employees. They hope to help in that area with the Workers' Hostel program, which they've decided to allocate 15 million euros to. Along with local governments, companies can also now apply for funding if they fulfill the conditions. It's an important parameter for companies that they must open at least 15% of the workers' hostel space to other companies in the town or the area. So no company will have full exclusivity in this regard, the State Secretary for Employment Policy said. Furthermore, only companies who commit to employing more local job seekers and to operating the hostel for at least 10 years can receive the funding.
Signature collection prior to the second round of the opposition's pre-election process for a mayoral candidate has begun in Budapest. Those who collected 2,000 signatures can enter the second round of the pre-selection. A signature limit of 2,000 cannot be considered too high, as it is hardly more than 1/10 of the number of voters in Budapest.
We are much more enthusiastic than before, the mayoral candidate of MSZP Párbeszéd and DK said, adding that the European parliamentary elections have shown that voters who supported the opposition are committed to the pre-selection process. He went on to say that to ensure that it isn't a defeat, people need to come together. If we don't work together, then this municipal election is sure to be a failure for all of us, he said. Gergely Karácsony added that he doesn't know why Róbert Puzsér dropped out of the second round of the pre-selection, because they had created it in an agreement they both signed. According to the former publicist, however, his opponent, Karácsony, is lying. As Róbert Puzsér put it, they sat through 40 hours of discussion together, so Gergely Karácsony must know exactly what his conditions were. He added that DK, the Democratic Coalition, didn't allow for there to be an online vote, which is why he isn't participating. Democracy is either online or it's nothing. This is the doctrine of the 21st century. If they are making online democracy impossible, I don't see why I should contribute to the farce they're playing, Puzsér said. Right when it seemed like the pre-selection had lost its purpose because of Róbert Puzsér leaving the race, Momentum announced that it would enter the pre-selection with their candidate, Gábor Kerpel-Frónius. In the second round of the pre-selection, he will be up against Gergely Karácsony. We want a candidate who we've brought out the best in to run against Tarlós. Be that Gergely Karácsony, Gábor Kerpel-Frónius or anyone. A competition like this will bring the best, the president of Momentum said. The winner of the second round will find themselves up against Róbert Puzsér and Ádám Sermer at the mayoral elections this fall. According to the Liberal candidate, the pre-selection is inconsistent. He also said that he has concerns about Gergely Karácsony and the Momentum candidate. When I announced that I was running, András Fekete-Győr voiced objections about me, that I don't have political experience. Hearing that, I find it unusual that they're entering the pre-selection with this move, Ádám Sermer said. Anyone who can collect 2,000 supporting signatures in the following 12 days can enter the pre-selection. Voters can cast their ballots from June 20th to the 26th.
Works of 50 Hungarian foreign and felt artists are on display at the International Felt Art Exhibition entitled From Sunrise to Sunset in the Pesti Híradó from Wednesday. At the exhibit, folk art meets applied art. Those interested can find items from clothes to toys and wall decorations among the exhibited items. A felt installation created by the exhibiting artists together is the centerpiece of the exhibition. For the first days of summer, the native grassland of Tatársánc is already in its splendor. The highly protected purple-flowered sage can only be found in a nature reserve near Orosháza in Hungary. The flower blooms for only a few weeks, therefore it is worth it grabbing the camera and visiting the Körös-Maros National Park. That's all for now. We'll be back tomorrow night at around the same time, and you can catch Hungary reports online as well. Please stay tuned for our German, Russian and Chinese language news. Thanks for watching. Take care. Good night.